My partner cheated on me over a year, and it was devastating. We're both committed to fixing things now and moving on together, but there's a lot of trauma on both sides to work out. I think I've come to terms with their actions and can move on, but I hate the person they cheated with. Until this, they were a part of our community, and I can't seem to put aside my desire to see them suffer for what they did to me.
They as in the partner, or they as in
The person they cheated with.
Oh, okay.
I know they didn't really do anything worse than my partner did.
Yeah.
And I think I'm hanging on to my feelings because if I let it go, then I feel like I'd lost and they'd got away with it. Is it best to just let it go? I insisted that my partner have no further contact with them if we stayed together for my own mental health. And I also feel very conflicted about having to do this since they were a very important friend to them.
Right. Thank you so much for trusting us with such a really, really sensitive question. I mean, it's really... Yeah, I just feel very privileged that people think of us as a source of advice for this sort of stuff. And
yeah, being cheated on is a very vulnerable moment, and it's often hard to talk about. So yeah, thank you for helping us, and also thank you for being quite self-reflexive about what might not have been good things that you did. But yeah, you want to start?
Sure, why not? So I didn't really understand whether it was that the cheating happened a year ago, or have they been going out for a year?
I think the cheating happened. I think the cheating happened for a year.
Yeah.
So they were cheating on them for a year-long period.
Oh my days.
My partner cheated on me over a year, and it was devastating. So it sounds like it was a year-long cheating affair. I think that's how I'm seeing it, but I'm not sure.
So this is so tricky, right? Because like, on one hand, I really want to be, I know, Sex and the City sort of like reference here, where I was really disagreeing where Aiden, the guy that was cheated on, forbidden Carrie to be still seeing Mr. Big, because I think, basically it was his own insecurities, and they will still continue whoever she'll be hanging out with. So on one hand, I do just want to be like, hey, I don't think you can block this. You really need to just get over your own insecurities with all of this, etc. On the other hand, again, I'm absolutely fine with all of the partners of all of my exes, except for this one. There's this one woman that is like a long-term partner now of one of my exes who I just can't.
But that's because you don't like her as a person, right?
I can't. Yes, but like, so I'm literally. And what if it's like that here? And I'm like totally not someone to say, oh, just try and like her somehow. Look, he never even cheated on me with her or anything like that. But just like I think she's a waste man. I think he deserves better. I will forever think that. There's nothing that anyone can do about this. So I don't know. This is difficult.
Right. I mean, Marianne also picked up on the point that I find most complicated in your question, which is you forbidding them to see this person. I think forbidding's a bad idea because forbidden fruit, it just makes them more desirable.
That's in my notes. Allure of the forbidden. Yes.
And B, you cannot forbid people from doing things that is not a healthy relationship dynamic, and I think you know that. You can say, hey, I really don't feel comfortable with you hanging out with this person. Like, I know they're close to you, but it would be important to me if you try to keep your distance, or at least for this bit while we're healing, and I want you to focus on making it up to me and making me feel valued again in a relationship. There are ways of talking about your discomfort with this person. Hell, I would feel so uncomfortable seeing the person that my partner cheated on me with in public spaces, and especially if they were hanging out together. Of course I would, but that's because I don't trust my partner having cheated on me, not because that person is inherently an evil person. It's different if they're just an asshole. If they're just an asshole, they're just an asshole, and you think your partner has bad taste, whatever.
Yeah, in which case just be judgmental.
Yeah, exactly. Just be like, why them? But yeah, you can't forbid. That's not healthy. That's toxic, I would say. Forbidding your partner from doing anything. Want the language of you can and you can't into the relationship, it's not a healthy relationship.
Yeah, and it's like for my own mental health, well, I mean, they cheated on you because there was something lacking. And that sounds horrible, but look, so that means for their own mental health, they had to do it. You know what I mean? So using that language is kind of a bit...
You can't use mental health language to forbid other people from doing things.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know that sounded terrible, and I don't mean it as that, and obviously, basically, I think I just think you should break up. Straight up, I just think you should. Straight up, I don't think you should be a person that did that to you, because that's a horrible thing to do. I also wonder how you find that. How did you find out? Because to me, that's really, really important.
Did they tell you?
Why did they tell you? If they told you, surely that's probably a little bit more about them telling you, and be like, oh, I just want you to know that. Basically make themselves feel better rather than you, Or
did you catch them in the act?
or did you catch them in the act? In which case, again, they're just bad. Like, they're a bad person.
I mean, the
like,
fundamental thing is you clearly don't trust your partner because you're having to lay down rules, and we've already established rules are unhealthy. You want to keep being with this person. Why? If you can't trust them to be around other people, you can't restrict their movements. That's not a relationship. That's a pet.
The only reason why I said that really snippy line, and I now hate how that sounded, like, oh, that was something like in relationships, because you're using that language of mental health, like, precisely, like, that is coercive behavior, using that language, whereas truly something also in their mental health must have been not well for them to do that.
There's a reason why people cheat. And I think, have you explored the reasons why they cheated on you as a person? Did they just have an overwhelming desire for them? Did they think something was lacking? Because also, like, I mean, we've both been in polyamorous relationships before. Mariam is in one right now as well. Like, where we understand that, like, to expect to get all of your, like, sexual, romantic and emotional needs met by one person is a ridiculously high ask and unrealistic for most relationships anyway. So, like, if they weren't having their emotional needs met by you, that's not to say that you're at fault for this, but it is saying that clearly something was wrong in that dynamic. And instead of addressing the problem of what it is between the two of you, you've put restrictions, which I understand for your own mental health thing, because I would hate my partner to be hanging out with the person who cheated on me. I would hate it so much. But that's because I don't trust my partner, essentially.
Absolutely.
And I do, but if I, in this situation...
Yeah, no, but again, it is that forbidden fruit, like, you were just going to be thinking, what if they text each other, etc., like, I don't think this is going to heal it.
Are you going to monitor their phone? Are you going to, like, check their internet history? Like, where does it end?
Yeah.
When it comes to not trusting them? I think for your own mental health, if that's what we're talking about, you need to reconsider what you're getting out of your partner. And the way I always look at this stuff is, do they make me happy more than they make me unhappy? Because if that balance has shifted and they're making you unhappy more regularly than they're making you happy, that's a time to reconsider what it is that you're getting out of them specifically.
I worry, I think about this all the time, especially now as well, like, since I'm, like, separated from my partner, right? Because, like, I spend way more time without them than I do with them, right? And so most of the time I'm unhappy, because I am just actively unhappy when we're not together. And so I think about this a lot, like, what am I doing? Like, why am I basically kind of way more unhappy than I am happy? And it's up to them to make me feel better, and they do, but still it's just like a Look, I'm gonna get a jumper. I'm freezing.
Okay.
But I don't want to, like, I feel like I still have something to say to this question, but like, since we're all now, like, we don't want to get ill, so I'm like, I think, like, as soon as I'm called, I'm gonna get something.
Oh, you're attached.
I'm attached. So we might do a cut here, or Rome will entertain you here, we'll see.
Entertain you. All I can think of is I've known people who've been cheated on, and I've known people who've cheated on their partners, and I think there is a lot of people making very snap moral judgments about, like, they are a cheater, therefore they are disgusting and they must grovel forever. And I think that cheating is not that simple, often. And you've clearly decided to forgive your partner, but it doesn't feel like you've interrogated the reasons behind their cheating. And forgiveness and trust are two different things. And I feel like I'm just repeating what we said when we were both here, but I think about this a lot because I'm in a lot of Facebook groups about emotions and relationships, where the second someone mentions that they were a cheater, they just get absolutely demolished by everyone. And of course I understand why, because it is a betrayal. But that doesn't make you a demon. And as you've already reflected, the person you are taking this out on the person your partner cheated with, not your partner, I think, in order to preserve your relationship. But honestly, like, this, like, kind of, I'm not assuming the gender, but I'm assuming it's a stereotype right now. But this other woman trope, where the other woman is the bad person that, like, seduced your loving and otherwise perfect partner away from you, and the other woman should be demonized, not your poor partner who just couldn't help their lust. Like, let's not put the blame on the third party here. Definitely. You also don't know how your partner spoke to the third party. Maybe they'd said that you were in an open relationship. Maybe they'd said that you knew. Maybe they'd said that you were a horrible person and they just wanted to get rid of you. We don't know how they showed to this other person what your relationship was like. So again, unless you've spoken to the third party, which is fucking difficult and horrible, and I would be very scared of doing that myself for sure, you can't know what their perspective on this was and why they got involved with your partner while you're in a relationship. So that's another thing where I think this is between you and your partner, and not between you and this third person who you're punishing for some reason.
Yeah, and in general, like, I think this is just sort of type of resentfulness that is never going to go away. Even if 6 years down the line everything is perfect, you know, one night you're on holiday and you get drunk or something, this is the sort of thing that will always come up. Like I just worry like that something has fundamentally been broken, and this is why people should never fucking cheat. Like once you've done it, there's nothing that can fix it, I don't think. Like I think literally it stays for good. And I say this, yeah, anyways, and I don't know, like I don't think there's ever like a way back from a way it was before.
I mean, I don't think there is a way to be like it was before. I do think there is a way to rebuild a relationship.
Yeah, but you have to. So then I was thinking, is there's a way to like, not gamify, but for instance, well, yeah, okay, gamify some like goals. What do you want from this? Like 3 goals that you both have, and perhaps achieving it, you know, and also like 3 techniques or this or that, and put a year's limit to it, for instance, and or like I don't know 3 months, and then you do an amnesty. But you have to really mean it. And be like, okay, after this, we genuinely forgive each other, everything and anything. And you really, really have to believe it. And after that, you are never allowed to even think about it, bring it up. And once you brought it up, then the guilt is on you.
Yeah, I think that's good because, like, okay, you've made this one rule: they can't see the person they cheated on me with again. But that's not necessarily going to make you feel more secure and like your partner loves you, and that's not necessarily going to make them feel like they are like winning back your trust, because essentially it's on your partner if they want to be with you still to win. Sorry, I was fiddling with it. Have I broken it?
Yeah, it's I don't know.
To win back your trust. And so you're like, okay, what would make you feel loved and what would make you feel secure in this relationship?
Yes.
Maybe if it's they treat you to a home-cooked meal every few days. Maybe it's if they do something you particularly like in bed.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's they take you to your favorite place. But
put a limit to it, I think, because basically also like again.
Yeah, you can't be guilty forever.
Yes, exactly. And I hate to do this like again, Carrie Bradshaw, Sex and the City bullshit. But like, and there's this one epic bit where she goes like, you have to forgive me. You have to forgive me. Like you have to forgive me. And she says it like 8 times, because like literally the idea is just like, mate, like we have to get over this. Like this cannot be the sort of thing that will keep coming up. And in their instance, it did come up in the end, and it did end up breaking them and stuff. If you are ready to forgive, don't do it half-assedly, because it sounds like that's the premise of this question. Like at the beginning, they're like, I'm mostly over this, but like you either forgive and you forget, and there's really a real amnesty, and you start from zero. Or you don't, and that's okay too.
Yeah, it's okay if you can't forgive them.
Yeah, like they cheated, like that's horrible.
But if you are willing to make it work, you need to put the effort into forgiving them, and they need to put in the effort into winning back your trust.
Yeah.
And it needs to be a two-way thing. And stop thinking about the third person. They're not in your relationship. Like, even if you do bump into them at a party or something, you can leave or you can talk to other friends. And it's a horrible thing, but like, at the end of the day, they're not what's important. What's important is you and how you feel, and yes, your mental health, but in relationship to yourself and to your partner if you choose to be with them.
Yeah, and they stayed with you because they want to be with you, you know? Yeah. Do they want to be with you?
Coercive in making them stay with you and they're staying with you out of guilt. Be careful of that.
Yep.
I would hate the idea that someone was staying with me just because I'd guilted them into it, not because they genuinely loved me and adored me.
Yeah. I'm gonna now bring the light because the sun has actually shifted. Again, sorry, this
is the outside world. Do you need to do anything?
No.
It's in the frame.
You're seeing all of our secrets. Essentially, it should bring.
Is it on?
Yeah. Well, look, I'll be able to also.
Yeah, you can.
Post-production, etc. But I mean, there should be enough for like evening light.
I think it's cute.
It's fine.
We're so denim.
Yeah. Cute.
Yeah. Cowboys.
Also, can I show off my
Yeah, it's so good.
And I'm definitely wearing it on like a Christmas special as well, I think.
Yeah.
It's cute.
I want to dress up as like a sexy elf.
Yes.
Gonna make little ears.
Oh, cute. Okay, we hope that we gave you some information here. Thank you so much again for opening up about this.
Yeah, it's super scary to open up about this stuff.
And I apologize I said that snappy line. I guess I just, you know, the one that was like, oh, maybe something was missing. Like the way that I said that wasn't.
Yeah, but cheating does happen for a reason.
Some sometimes yes, sometimes no.
But even if the reason is just I fancy them, that's still a reason.
Yes, that's true. But I guess I was just like not defensive. I don't know. It was just reacting to that particular bit where it was just like about mental health, because like we're not talking necessarily about the mental health of your partner here, you know.
Yes.
And I think it's important that what if their mental health is reduced by not having this person in their lives, you know.
And also, you can't use your mental health as a weapon. Is a really important thing.
Very
like,
correct.
I've been in situations where I stuck around in quite an abusive dynamic for a long time because of the other person's mental health needs and because I felt bad for leaving them because of their mental health needs. But essentially, I was getting treated horribly because I was putting their mental health before my own. And so, yeah, do not weaponize mental health. You can raise it as an important issue and an important issue why you might feel uncomfortable with the dynamic, but you cannot use it to make rules. And you might also need to interrogate if your partner's actions are bad for your mental health. Jesus Christ. Again, are you sure you want to be with them?
Yeah. Totally.
Good luck, and thank you again for writing in with such a personal question.
Thank you.